The Christ Letters, with enhanced narration and text. Letter 8.3. True Spiritual Awakening. Those of you who have evolved sufficiently to live in 2 dimensions, you whose minds can move beyond the realm of human intellect into the higher dimension of universal reality, will probably encounter many people in time to come who will reject these letters as imagination, but be not dismayed. Remember what I am telling you now. You are residents of 2 dimensions, and none may pass beyond the dimension of mere intellect until the prerequisites to spiritual enlightenment have been fulfilled. These are a true spiritual awakening, leading to deep insight into the activities of the ego and selfhood, followed by remorse, remorse, remorse. This is the only way. For remorse, in turn, leads to the rejection of the magnetic emotional dimension of rejection bonding, which, in its more virulent forms, humans described as sin. When a person penetrates the spiritual dimension and is imbued with life characteristics, the person begins to realize and eventually know that the human ego drive to look out for the self actually shuts the soul off from the continuous inflow of divine life into the mind, heart, body, relationships and daily experiences. Looking out for yourself is a human, earthly experience. Total, sincere surrender of the selfhood to Father Life removes the block between the spiritual dimension and the soul. A person no longer has to look out for himself. All that divine life is now flows into the individual's body, mind, heart, experiences, and relationships. Such a person lives by instinct and follows hunches which always work out perfectly in the long term. Divine life is always there to be accessed whenever the person surrenders self-will and turns to it for every need. You must remember that I am referring to the time when you penetrate the human dimension of intellect and move beyond your reliance on intellect and material means to get you what you want out of life. Many people think they have reached this place of spiritual development, but are deluding themselves. When a person abandons logic and knows beyond all doubt that guidance can be utterly relied upon to achieve inspired goals, your life changes. Benefits flow into your experience when you fully realize that divine consciousness is the unseen reality, the power at work behind the outer appearances of your life, moving intelligent energy force to manifest your needs. You do not have to deny appearances, pour thought power into a condition you are seeking to resolve. All you have to do is surrender self-will and know that as your limited intellect yields, so does the infinite reality move in to order your life in an altogether new way, to wean you away from all your supports of the past, bring to your mind a new vision for a new endeavor, and lead you into new areas of activity. But when this happens, you have to be prepared to let go completely. You have to release your grip on the securities of the past and know that even greater securities of a different nature await you as you follow your inspiration. Since this state of spiritual human existence and harmonious well-being depend entirely on a person's ability to make true contact with divine reality, it is imperative to return again and again to an in-depth study of divine reality itself, and the way in which the ego drive is ceaselessly at work within the human consciousness, blocking out the intuitive directions of the divine life within the mind. At the moment, you are living in a shadowy, burdened existence, instead of consciously living within and entering into divine consciousness and allowing it to permeate and gladden your thinking and life experiences. You remain locked within the mental-emotional framework of electromagnetic impulses until you set your willpower to consciously dissolving the fabric of your humanly conceived beliefs and come to see clearly that your reality is divine consciousness, not your family or bank book. When you achieve this insight, you will enter into light, and the light will abide in you. Because of the discomfort and the tug-of-war between the evolving soul and the human ego, which demands to look good rather than be good, and yet cannot bear the thought that it may ever be imperfect, there are few people receiving inspiration and passing it on to others at this time who will speak about the need to go through a period of inner cleansing. Modern people are conditioned to instant service, instant light, instant heat, instant food, drink, clothes and entertainment, and therefore are not attracted to a truth which involves self-sacrifice, hard work, and total dedication to the goal. Besides which, many of these teachers are making a good deal of money out of their activities, and they must present a truth that will sell. If your modern teachers speak of a path of attainment to the highest dimensions by means of the transference of personal mental illumination, it will still be necessary to undergo the inner intense self-examination and purification of the bonding rejection of magnetic emotions. If you are truly on the upward path to the highest spiritual dimensions, your road will be characterized by moments of bright, clear-sighted self-inspection and self-realization, followed frequently by self-loathing. This dark and painful feeling is the magnetic emotion in reverse. Where before the ego clung to its essential vision of itself as being the greatest and even greater than others, it now begins to glimpse the agonizing fact that perhaps it is not only slightly but very imperfect. Any person reaching this spiritual level of development will find they are now traveling the road to true humility. Take heart when you find this happening to you. You are now pushing away the debris of past erroneous beliefs about yourself and your illusory selfhood. Remember that it is your intention or motivation or conviction which gives creative power to do whatever you want to do. The moment that you desire with all your heart to reverse your normal trend in your magnetic emotional patterns, you have set this process in motion. If you clearly define the goals you wish to achieve and keep them ever before your vision, in writing or in mind, very shortly you will discover that the desired changes have taken place in your consciousness. When this happens, you will feel a lightness in spirit and will have moments of pure joy. You will be proving that the truth of being does bring captive hearts into the perfect freedom of spiritual living. At the same time, you have to understand that your ego must, of necessity to enable you to survive, make you believe you are of value to yourself and other people. Any external serious challenge regarding the value of the self is highly destructive. A desperate fear and internal subsidence of confidence will lead to the conviction that you are without value in the world, and suicide can be the natural outcome. Therefore, your progress will and must be gradual. No one should ever expect people to be wholly changed by words of advice or times of inspiration. Growth can only take place very gradually, one insight at a time. A true spiritual insight will imbue a person's mind with an altogether new point of view which will enable him to begin to approach certain related circumstances in life differently. This insight must direct the person's actions until it has been absorbed completely into the consciousness for eternity and becomes part of the soul evolution. For instance, a man may have the idea that he will be successful in life if he enforces his will aggressively on those who come within his orbit. He believes he will be better heard if he shouts. Then he may wake up to the fact that no one likes him much and he is avoided by employees and friends. He may become more aggressive because he now feels humiliated, or if he is an evolving soul, he will question what he can do about his isolation. The moment that divine life seeps into his consciousness psyche and makes him realize that he himself avoids people who shout, he will have a flash of inspiration. He will realize that to be happy and successful, he should treat others as he likes to be treated. You may argue that this perception is not necessarily inspired, but is born of common sense, that he himself was responsible for arriving at this realization. However, this is not so. Ego thoughts are dictated solely by the bonding rejection impulses. Any new wisdom comes from loving intelligence. This may be the last inspired flash of insight he will ever have, but if he is truly on a spiritual path and seeking the highest dimensions of attainment, he will gradually perceive that this first overcoming of the ego is not enough. He will begin to see other previously unsuspected selfish patterns of behavior. He will define a further goal just out of reach at that moment, but very shortly, with prayer and meditation, he will have achieved that goal also. In this way, his consciousness frequencies of vibration will be elevated, and he will gradually move towards the celestial kingdoms of consciousness, the kingdom of heaven. Alternatively, a woman may only feel secure by not disturbing the present status quo. She is afraid to speak out when treated with a lack of respect. Such a meek person, whilst more comfortable taking refuge in silence, will also suffer deep resentments because people do not respect her passive personality. Such people usually turn to religion for comfort and reassurance, and because of non-comprehension of the laws of existence, she will probably remain static in her meekness till the end of her time on earth. Indeed, because of my words recorded in the Gospels, "Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth," the Church has taught that meekness is to be commended. she may feel that her meekness is the way to the light. However, if the meek little lady should find the truth concerning her being, and should find the right way to make contact with universal consciousness, she will eventually be told inwardly and clearly that spiritually she is the equal of everyone else. She will be inspired to express herself well. She will be given the strength to speak her truth in a more confident and attractive way. People will begin to respect this new person, and she will be manifesting the inner spiritual development gained during her times spent in meditation. Remember, you are not on earth to please God, as your church may tell you. You are on earth to express God and to make ever closer and closer contact with universal consciousness until you become free of the magnetic emotional bondage. Footnote: I came and have come now to help you find life more abundant and infinite joy. End of footnote.